Good morning, George Street. It's time for today's announcements. I've enlisted the help of my good friend Ollie here to demonstrate proper mask usage. And if you could see the image, you could see that there is only one proper way to wear a mask. That is over your mouth and nose. So even Ollie knows how to do that. And as you can see in the image, you have Ollie wearing the mask in all the different ways, from whether it's a hat to a neck scarf to in his mouth, on his ear. But there is one way to wear a mask. And this is really important because, as we've been talking all week, the wearing of mask is probably the #1 way to prevent the spread of any disease. And in this case, especially with a pandemic such as COVID that we're going through right now. And the other part of that is that in Australia, they just finished their winter basically, and though the pandemic is still ongoing there, they did notice that in their school year up to this point, colds and flus have gone down significantly. So it's really to protect ourselves, not just from the COVID-19, which is definitely something that we need to protect ourselves from, but also it's to protect ourselves from basically getting any type of ailment as well. So keep up the good work, George Street. I did notice yesterday, I on the way at the end of the day, and I might have to ask Miss Edmondson if she noticed the same thing, I did not have to remind anybody about their math. So good job, George Street. All right, let's go on to athletics. Yesterday, the grade 6s had their meet at Bliss Carman Middle School. We have not received the results yet, but Miss Allen and Miss Sieben, the coaches, were proud of all the runners. So congratulations. Now, today, we have the grade 7s that are doing their meet. And is it today? No, the grade 7 runners are to see Mr. Lynch today. So the boys, Ahmed, Grayson, Warren, and the girls, Isabel, Brooklyn, and Sadie. Mr. Lynch has an update that was just given to him for the meet tomorrow. So if you're part of the grade 7 team, make sure that you touch base with Mr. Lynch today. And the badminton teams, if you're interested in trying out, I had quite a few students yesterday that asked me, what do I do? What do I do? What you need to do is during your phys ed class, at least I noticed that this is what's happening, and during your phys ed class, that is where Mr. Graham or Mr. Gardner or Miss Allen or Mr. Grimmer will basically say, okay, who's interested in joining badminton? And they take a list of names there. The tryouts are next week. So the tryouts are next week. All right, we got some classes that are getting some Renaissance visits. So let's start this on. I have all my cookies here. I'm ready to roll. 7C2 has earned their first Renaissance goal for improving their transition time. That includes clean up and line up between classes. They have done this for 10 straight days, and I am confident that they will continue. Keep up the good work. And right now they're working on a new goal. So congratulations to 7C2. You're going to get a Renaissance visit today. Mr. Hovey's class, 7B2, you're getting a Renaissance visit today. They're shouting out proudly. So hopefully the cookies will calm you down. Anyways, they pushed their chairs in after class, checked for garbage on the floor, and put their chairs up at the end of the day. They've done that for 11 straight days. So they're getting a Renaissance visit today because of that. And 6B2, Miss Solace Astos class. They reached their first Renaissance goal of the year. It took some time for them to get it organized, but now at 9:10, they're all seated, they're reading a book en français, quietly awaiting the announcements, and I am proud of that. So congratulations to those 3 classes. I do have a couple more, and they'll get their visits tomorrow. Now today, at about 10:15, maybe a little bit before then, we are practicing our evacuation. And this is very important to do because, like I said yesterday, we've never had to do a real one, but we've come close to having to do some. Usually this is how it goes. Like in a real situation, it would probably be a fire alarm that would go off. Everybody would leave the building and wait to see if we could go back into the building. And when we cannot go back into the building, that's when we go to our alternate site. After about 10-15 minutes, that's when you go back to your alternate site. We're not going to do it like that this time. All we're going to do is make an announcement that we need to evacuate. You need to do this quietly, and you have to have your masks on, even once we're outside, out into the public. You need to have your masks on. Teachers, as you all know, we are crossing just at one point at the corner right in front of the graveyard crossing at Carleton. That's the only point of crossing and getting back into the school. So we are not entering St. Paul's United simply because we're just practicing a drill, and we will basically get there. Somebody will direct you to basically have you go around. You'll go up York and then on Charlotte Street and then back down Carleton. And everybody will sort of like do a go around the church type thing and head back. So that is happening today, our evacuation. The weather, I think, will hold off. It's not supposed to rain. At least I knock on wood. I hope it's not supposed to rain. And that's what's happening today. But keep in mind, everybody, this is really important. You need to be quiet, because during a real emergency, we might have to give different instructions and everybody needs to be listening. We need to do this orderly. This is not one of those walks where everybody gets to grab branches from the trees. We just need to do this in an, and you have to have your mask, okay? Now, teachers, if you want, you could prepare the kids ahead of time so that they could have their jackets. That's fine by me. It's a little coolish outside. So anyways, that's happening a little bit before 10:15. By 10:15, we'll do it. We're just waiting for the city police to give us the okay. All right. Are there any questions, teachers? If not, would you please rise for the pledge of O Canada?